League phase is done, 108 total teams down to 72. The next stage is find the final qualifiers for the round of 16. This is your express guide to all of the grounds hosting games during the 2024-25 UEFA Knockout Phase playoffs. Stade Brestois-Vintners hosts Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Stade de Rouderou. This Brittany-based ground is actually the home of current Ligue 2 side en avant Guingamp. The 19,033 capacity stadium has been used for Champions League games by Brest, as their own Stade Francis Leblair does not meet UEFA's elite level requirements. Club Brugge host Atalanta in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Jan Bredel Stadion. This 50-year-old, 29,062 capacity stadium is shared between Club Brugge and city rival Cercle Brugge and is named for the local medieval war hero Jan Bredel. Manchester City host Real Madrid in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the City of Manchester Stadium. This 53,600 capacity stadium was originally built to host the 2002 Commonwealth Games in Manchester, since being reconfigured into a football-specific venue and being home to Manchester City since 2003. It's best known through sponsorship as the Etihad Stadium. Juventus hosts PSV in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Juventus Stadium. Otherwise known through its sponsorship name, the Allianz Stadium, this modern 41,507 capacity home for Juventus was built on the site of the old lady's former home, the Stadio delle Alpi, which was originally built for the 1990 FIFA World Cup and held Juventus games up to 2006. Feyenoord hosts Milan in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at De Kuip. Translated to the Tub, De Kuip is the nickname to the Stadion Feyenoord, with its traditional name coming from the district of Rotterdam that it sits just on the edge of. Maximum capacity is 51,117, but is often limited down to 47,500. Celtic host Bayern Munich in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at Celtic Park. Otherwise known more locally as Parkhead or Paradise, this is Scotland's largest football stadium, able to hold 60,411. Celtic have spent all but the first 5 years of their history at the Parkhead site. Sporting Saipai host Borussia Dortmund in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Estadio José Alvalade. Holding 50,095 people, it's Portugal's second biggest football stadium, beating FC Porto's Estadio do Dragão by just 62 total seats. Named for Sporting's founder, José Alfredo Holtraman Roquette, it's the modern successor to the original Estadio José Alvalade, which was in use between 1956 and 2003. AS Monaco hosts Benfica in the first leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Stade Louis II. Located specifically in the Fontvieille district, the southernmost ward of the Principality of Monaco, this is a 16,360 capacity stadium named for Louis II, Prince of Monaco, between June 1922 and May 1949. Ferencváros hosts Victoria Pilsen in the first leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the Ferencváros Stadion. Known as the Groupama Arena through sponsorship, it's a 23,700 capacity enclosed stadium that serves as the modern home to Ferencváros since 2014. It was built on the site of their former home, the Stadion Albert Florian. SC Twente hosts Bode Glimt in the first leg of their Europa League tie at De Grolsvesten. This 30,205 capacity stadium's name is translated as the Grolsch Fortress, Grolsch being the name of a 400-year-old brewery that is nowadays headquartered within Enschede, the same city as the stadium. It was known as the Arca Stadion for the decade from opening until 2008. Royal Union Saint-Gilloise host Ajax in the first leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the Stade Roy Baudouin. The King Baudouin Stadium is the 50,093 capacity national stadium of Belgium, dating back to 1930 and named for Baudouin, who was king of the Belgians from 1951 to 1993. Union Saint-Gilloise have been using the stadium for major European games this season, as their own Stade Joseph Marien doesn't meet UEFA requirements. AZ host Galatasaray in the first leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the AZ Stadion. The The RFRS Stadion, as it is more commonly known, is a modern 19,478 capacity stadium which opened back in 2006. It serves as the modern successor to the Alkmaar de Hout, home for AZ between 1986 and 2006. SC Midtjylland hosts Real Sociedad in the first leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the MCH Arena. This simple enclosed stadium sits at the southern end of the MCH Messe Center Herning, a large fair and exhibition centre within Denmark. The stadium holds 12,055 people, 7,790 of them seated, and opened in 2004 to become home for a club that had been recently formed following a merger in 1999. PAOK host SCSB in the first leg of their Europa League tie at Tumba Stadium. This 65-year-old ground is officially called PAOK Stadium, but is much more popularly referred to as Tumba, a connection to the borough of Eastern Thessaloniki that it sits within. The black and white, largely uncovered bowl holds up to 28,703 people. Fenerbahce host RSC Anderlecht in the first leg of their Europa League tie at the Sukru Sarakoglu Stadium. Located in the Kadıköy district of the Asian side of Istanbul, this is an enclosed stadium that can hold 47,430 people. Known officially through sponsorship as Ülke Stadyumu Fenerbahce Sukru Sarakoglu Spor Kompleksi, it is named for Mehmet Sukru Sarakoglu, who served as both chairman of Fenerbahce and also as Turkey's 5th Prime Minister. FC Porto host AS Roma in the first leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the Estádio do Dragão. The Dragon Stadium, as it is translated to, is Portugal's third biggest football stadium, holding a total of 50,033. It was built in preparation for Portugal hosting UEFA Euro 2004, providing Porto with a successor to the Estádio das Antas, which had been used between 1952 and 2004. Ghent hosts Real Betis in the first leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Artevelde Stadion. This modern enclosed arena opened in 2013, holding 20,185 people. It's a successor to the Jules Otten Stadion and is presently known through sponsorship as the Planet Group Arena. Its traditional name comes from Jacob van Artevelde, a famous local historical figure. FK TSC hosts Jagiellonian Bialystok in the first leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the TSC Arena. This small, compact stadium has been in use since September 2021, holding just 4,500 people across its 4 stands. It provides a successor to FK TSC's much longer-term home, the Bachka Topola City Stadium, which dated back to the 1930s. NK Celje host Apoel in the first leg of their Conference League tie at the Stadion Zedzela. Formerly known as the Arena Petrol until 2017, the Stadion Zedzela opened in 2003 as the most modern stadium in Slovenia at the time, albeit it was just a single-stand venue at that point for 3,600 people. The years since have added stands to the other 3 sides within the grass-banked arena, bringing total capacity up to 13,059. Vikingur Reykjavik host Panathinaikos in the first leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Helsinki Olympic Stadium. The Helsinki Olympia Stadion is the largest stadium in Finland, the centrepiece of the 1952 Summer Olympics, and nowadays holding 36,251 after a rebuild in the late 2010s. Icelandic club Vikingur Reykjavik are using the Helsinki venue due to a lack of suitable stadiums in Iceland, making this the only game across the entire knockout phase playoffs that is taking place in a different country to the team that is hosting it. Borat Banja Luka host Olimpia Ljubljana in the first leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Gradski Stadion Banja Luka. The City Stadium is a 10,030 capacity venue that dates back to 1937. Its most recent major renovation work was the construction of a new curved north stand around the edge of its running track from back in 2012. Omonoia hosts Pathos SC in the first leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the GCP Stadium. The first leg of this all-Cyprus affair is being held at what was formerly Cyprus's national stadium and still remains the largest on the Mediterranean island. Holding 22,859 people, it serves as a home for both Omonoia and arch-rivals Apoel and was formerly also used by Olympiakos Nicosia. Molde host Shamrock Rovers in the first leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Aker Stadion. Known as Molde Stadion in UEFA competitions, this 11,249 capacity stadium is one of the most scenic top-level grounds in all of Europe. A beautiful landscape with the stadium sat coastside within the Molde panorama. It opened back in April 1998. SC Kopenhagen host Erste SC Heidenheim in the first leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at Parken. With a 38,190 capacity, which makes it the largest stadium in Denmark, it's been a home not only for Kopenhagen, but to the Denmark national team since opening in 1992. The stadium has a fully retractable roof and gained tournament pedigree from hosting 4 games at UEFA Euro 2020. Paris Saint-Germain host Stade Brestois-Vintners in the second leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at Parc des Princes. The 47,929 capacity home of PSG sits directly across Rue Claude Ferreira from the much smaller Stade Jean Boyne, an enclosed stadium used mostly for rugby union. The two stadiums sit just within the 16th arrondissement of Paris, the westernmost of its 20 administrative divisions. Atalanta host Club Brugge in the second leg of their Champions League tie at the Stadio Atleti Azzurri d'Italia. Known through sponsorship as the Gewiss Stadium, present-day expansions have increased the Stadio Atleti up to a capacity of just under 25,000. Notable growth has been happening around the ground since 2019. Real Madrid host Manchester City in the second leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Estadio Santiago Bernabeu. Presently holding 78,297 people, this historic ground is named for former Real Madrid player and president Santiago Bernabeu de Gesta. It reopened in December 2023 following major renovation work to both its interior and exterior. PSV host Juventus in the second leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Philips Stadion. Known more often as the PSV Stadion in UEFA competitions, it's the Netherlands' third largest football stadium with a capacity of 35,119. Its origins date back to 1910, created as a sports deal for employees of the local Philips company. Milan host Feyenoord in the second leg of their Champions League tie at San Siro. Sharing its name with the district of Milan it sits within, this giant stadium also goes under the name Stadio Giuseppe Meazza, a name more commonly used for inter-fixtures, with city rivals Milan favouring the use of San Siro. Maximum capacity is 80,018 and often regulated at a lower 75,817. Bayern Munich host Celtic in the second leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Allianz Arena. Known as the Munich Football Arena in international competitions, the home of Bayern Munich since 2005 can hold a maximum of 75,024, usually regulated at 70,000 for non-domestic fixtures. It was a stadium in turn shared by TSV 1860 München between 2005 and 2017. Borussia Dortmund host Sporting CP in the second leg of their Champions League tie at the Westfalenstadion. Otherwise known by its sponsorship name Signal Iduna Park, it's Germany's largest stadium with a domestic capacity of 81,365. The ground was built originally for the 1974 FIFA World Cup and takes its traditional name from the western German region of Westphalia. Benfica host AS Monaco in the second leg of their UEFA Champions League tie at the Estadio da Luz. Translated as the Stadium of Light, though it's officially named the Estadio do Sport Lisboa e Benfica. It's the largest football stadium in all of Portugal, holding 64,642 people, and is the modern successor to the original Estadio da Luz, which was in use between 1954 and 2003. Victoria Pilsen hosts Ferencváros in the second leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the Dusan Arena. This 11,700 capacity stadium has been home to Victoria since 2005. It has previously been known as Stadion Mesta Pilsner, the Pilsen City Stadium, and is also known locally as Stadion Vestunkovic Sadek, the stadium in Strunk Park, named for Emil Strunk, who was the leader of a local gymnastics organisation. Bodø Glimt hosts FC Twente in the second leg of their Europa League tie at the Aspmyra Stadion. Nowadays holding 8,270, this is a ground within the Arctic Circle that has grown significantly since first opening in 1966. It serves as a home for not just Bodø Glimt, but also for the lower league Idrettsklubben Grand Bodø, who has both a men's and women's team. Ajax host Royal Union Saint-Gilloise in the second leg of their Europa League tie at the Johan Cruyff Arena. The Amsterdam Arena, as it is formally known, is the largest stadium in the Netherlands, currently holding 55,865. The home for both Ajax and the Dutch national team, it was renamed in 2018 to honour the late great Johan Cruyff, who passed away back in 2016 at the age of 68. Galatasaray host AZ in the second leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the Ali Sami Yen Spor Kompleksi. Known through sponsorship as Rams Park, it still may be best known to most during its time with Turk Telecom sponsorship. Holding 53,978, it opened in 2011 to give Galatasaray a successor to the Ali Sami Yen Stadium, which they had multiple spells at. Real Sociedad host SC Midtjylland in the second leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at Anoeta Stadium. The Real Arena, as known through sponsorship, is an enclosed stadium that holds around 39,500, succeeding Sociedad's Atocha in 1993. It originally opened as a venue for both football and athletics, being converted into a football-specific venue with closer stands in the late 2010s. SCSB host PAOK in the second leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the Arena Națională. This is Romania's largest stadium, a 55,634 capacity giant that opened in 2011 on the site of the original Stadionul Național that was in use between 1953 and 2007. The modern stadium has been used by Romania's national team since opening and by SCSB since 2015. RSC Anderlecht hosts Fenerbahce in the second leg of their Europa League tie at the Stade Constant van den Stok. Known also by its sponsorship name Lotto Park, the 22,500 capacity Purple Stadium dates all the way back to 1917, taking its most present look following work in the early 2010s. Its traditional name comes from club icon Constant van den Stok, who was chairman of Anderlecht at the time of the renaming in the early 1990s. RS Roma host FC Porto in the second leg of their UEFA Europa League tie at the Stadio Olimpico. Italy's national stadium is famously shared by both Roma and arch-rivals Lazio, presently holding 70,634 people. The Olimpico was a very long construction project, originally beginning in 1928 with delays from conflict and occupation, meaning that it didn't officially open until 1953, some 27 years later. Real Betis host Ghent in the second leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Estadio Benito Villamarín. One of the largest stadiums in all of Spain, holding 60,721 people. It was originally built for an exposition back in 1929, first taking its current name in 1961 after the then club president. Jagiellonia Białystok host FKTSC in the second leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Stadion Miejski i Białymstoku. The Białystok Municipal Stadium also runs under the name Stadion Jagiellonii Białystok in reference to its main tenants. The enclosed stadium is the result of a rebuild between 2008 and 2014, forming the 22,432 capacity edition of a ground which dates back to 1972. Apoel host NK Celje in the second leg of their Conference League tie at the GCP Stadium. It will be a second week of Conference League football in a row for the former national stadium, hosting Omonoi's first leg the week before. The largely uncovered stadium opened back in October 1999 as the new edition of the old GCP Stadium that had been in use since 1902. Panathinaikos hosts Vikingur Reykjavik in the second leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Athens Olympic Stadium. Greece's largest stadium holds 75,000 at maximum with a regulated capacity of 69,618. It was built in 1982 for that year's European Athletics Championships and was later the centrepiece for the 2004 Summer Olympic and Paralympic Games. Olimpia Ljubljana host Borac Banja Luka in the second leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Stadion Stazica. The national stadium of Slovenia, it takes its name from the area and sports park it sits within, more specifically based in a northern district of the capital, Ljubljana. The 16,038 capacity ground is notably laid underneath the plateau of the surrounding park and opened back in August 2010. Pathos FC host Omonoia in the second leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Limassol Stadium. This still new build opened back in November 2022, becoming Cyprus's second largest football stadium with a capacity of 11,000. It is known as the Limassol Stadium for UEFA competitions, but known commercially as the Alpha Mega Stadium. Pathos have been using this site for European matches as their own Stelios Kyriakidis Stadium, located some 50 kilometers west in the city of Pathos, doesn't meet UEFA requirements. Shamrock Rovers host Molde in the second leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at Tallaght Stadium. Named for the region of South Dublin that it sits within, Tallaght Stadium has been home to Shamrock Rovers since finally opening in 2009 after a long construction project. Now holding around 10,500 people, it initially began as a two-sided ground, gaining a south stand in 2019 and a north stand in 2023. Erste SC Heidenheim host SC Kopenhagen in the second leg of their UEFA Conference League tie at the Albstadion. Known as the Voith Arena through sponsorship, this was a simple single-sided ground until near the end of the 2000s, with major growth and expansion needed to match Heidenheim's ascent up the German pyramid. It now holds 15,000 after its latest configuration, which includes stands on all four sides as well as filled-in corners. The first legs of the knockout phase playoff round ties are scheduled to take place between Tuesday the 11th and Thursday the 13th of February, with the second leg scheduled to take place between Tuesday the 18th and Thursday the 20th of February. 24 total tie winners, 8 from each competition, who will join the top 8s of the UCL, UEL and UECL to form the respective round of 16s in time for March. 47 total stadiums featured in this video. Have you had the chance to experience any of them before? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the Matchday Man for more stadium and European football related content across the rest of the season. I'll see you then.